Hey y'all! It's been a while since I made one of these videos, but I feel like the subject for today needs to be said. Being a hater. I feel like being a hater is generally looked down upon because it's universally bad to be hating on someone, right? But that doesn't stop us from doing it. And I honestly don't feel like you should in a way. So I'm gonna go off into my own little interpretation of being a healthy hater. And I should preface this by saying, I'm not gonna tell y'all how to stop being a hater. In fact, I think it's healthy for us. But what you do with those feelings determines the outcome of what type of hater you'll be. Because being a hater is an art form. Like, you have to wield it correctly, okay? It's like an artist choosing to eat lead paint instead of painting with it. We're human. It's in our nature to have those emotions. Being a hater and that feeling of envy, jealousy, hate, whatever emotion you want to call it, I think it's there for a reason. When your emotions feel like they're too much, it's because they're trying to tell you something. Ignoring them and acting like those feelings aren't there is gonna turn you into this husk of a person who can't control themselves. I've been there, I've done that. In fact, the entire reason I'm making this video is because I caught myself in 4K hate watching another creator. If you let your hate in nature control you, it will consume you. But if you know how to wield it as a tool, all you really have to do is redirect it and be a little more aware. But that's easier to say than to actually know how to do. So today, I'm gonna teach you how to go from being a hating ass hater to transforming yourself into still a hater, but with class. But before we get into that, I'm Nandi and I'm a hater. As I was talking about earlier, I was hate watching another creator right here on YouTube. And I mean, I was seething at this person. And in general, being what I'd call a hating ass hater, which is the lowest form of being a hater. A hating ass hater is where most people are. They get around a person they don't like, and then they just don't know how to act. And they let their emotions control their actions. And this was me. And I know I be so sweet on here, y'all. Y'all could never see me like this. Not me, not Nandi. But I like to introduce y'all to who I was hating on. See, this is Dokuro-chan. She's another content creator on YouTube, and I had been hate watching her, staying on her unsubscribed algorithm for 2 years straight. Now, what did Dokuro-chan do? What made little old sweet Nandi start hate watching her? There's got to be an underlying reason for someone so pretty and pure and juicy not to like this person. I didn't have a reason, which brings me to my first rule of hating, which is you can't hate for no reason. My feelings play a very big role in why I do the things the way I do, and sometimes they can cloud over anything logical. So even if I couldn't put it into words, I just knew I didn't like her. So why was I on her page? So I went a little deeper and I asked myself, why? Why don't I like her? And in response, I started attributing it to all of these little things, like how I didn't like the repetitive wording in all of her videos. And I also didn't like how she was so formulaic in her approach to her content that I feel that all of the authenticity was just sucked right out of it. I just didn't like it. But none of that was actually objective. Those were just my opinions. People have those weaknesses. I may not like it, but those strengths are also there. I can look past all of the things I hate about it and look at what she does great. Then I can learn from that and be on my way. Instead of focusing why I don't like her, I can also see what she does really well. Like how she markets herself, how she keeps everything on her page neat and tidy. That strength that makes her unique and makes her thrive may not be something I understand or even get at first, but I choose to acknowledge that about her and move on with my day. While I value authenticity, she may value getting that bag and running with the pack. And while she's more formulaic and traditional, I just like me a little bit more chaos. And I had to realize that we're just different. Y'all know when an animal in the wild sees an albino version of themselves, they go fucking ballistic? Humans are the same way, if we don't catch ourselves. And sometimes those differences may seem threatening, especially as a content creator, and you start to look at those numbers and compare yourself. But at the end of the day, I learned all that stuff about myself because I watched her. And that's where you have to learn to redirect that hate that you just had into appreciation. And no matter how much I was hating on Dokuro-chan, I really can't hate, because at the end of the day, she helped me figure out more about myself by showing me those things that I didn't prefer. It unlocked a part of myself that I may not have noticed before. So you have to stop comparing and start contrasting. What do you prefer? As I was hate watching Dokuro-chan, I get a notification on my phone and see that someone on YouTube was trying to make a rant about me. And I was like, me? Why would you hate on me? I try to make everyone feel loved and happy and smile all the time. Like, how could you hate on me? I'm that nigga. And as I was about to give this person the hardest fucking clapback of their entire fucking existence, I stopped and I looked at the tab where I had Dokuro-chan's page up, and I realized I was doing the exact same thing that this person was. And I will attribute why I hated her to all this stuff and all those small things that don't matter, when I should have been more aware enough to see the good about it. What's awesome about it? Because at the same time, she's doing the same thing I'm doing, which is playing to what she feels are her strengths and putting herself out in the world. And I thought I was in my healing era, but I was still hating. I still had those emotions. I still didn't like her. You may have perceived them as a threat or competition, especially when you're in content creation and start looking at them damn numbers. I would get sick about seeing people win. Even scrolling online now, my eyes would automatically shift to that view count. And I'd be thinking, how can they have so many followers just doing this whack ass content when I'm working so hard on this video about my obscure OC named Takeuchi? It's not fair. Every bad feeling, that envy, jealousy, anger, I had all of those feelings towards Dokuro-chan. And again, I asked myself, why? Then a deeper rooted feeling popped up, which whatever emotion you get after the second time you ask yourself, it's gonna be a lot more honest. And it could be any emotion, but the emotion that popped up for me this time was bitterness. I was bitter towards Dokuro-chan. I didn't like how easy it looked for her when I feel like I struggled so hard with mine. I had gone through a lot of shit in my life. I went through things that I shouldn't have had to and made a lot of sacrifices I wish I didn't have to make. And I was bitter at the world. So when I saw a person getting those numbers, like it's being straight handed to them, and they have this big team helping them and this amount of money and this amount of opportunities, I turned bitter. And that's where I really had to catch myself. And that literally is the most important part. You have to be able to catch yourself. This is where I tell you that you can still be a hater. I'm not gonna tell you to stop feeling those feelings. The hardest part is just figuring out what the reason is. But you can't do that if you ignore the problem and act like it's not there at all. You can't help that you feel them. Emotions are always fluctuating, especially for my bipolar girlies, we up. But once you realize that those feelings are there, and once you acknowledge that those bad parts of yourself are there, you win. Because now you can choose what you want to do with them instead of having them choose for you. And you still don't have to like the person. Which brings me to my number one tip, which is stop putting yourself in those bad environments in the first place. Now that means if you see an environment that might turn you into a hater, don't go into that environment. You literally have to walk away because it can get out of hand. If you hang around non-haters, you gonna be the 10th one. This is one of the first hard lessons I've had to learn because I was around miserable people all the time. And for so long, I was miserable too. And I didn't know that that wasn't actually me. I thought, oh, it's just my depression. It's because of the CPTSD. No, sis. It's because you're around shitty ass humans that aren't growing or trying to. And every time you try to grow, they gonna tear you down till you back on their level. And I also know how hard it can be online, especially when there's a whole subculture who thrive on being miserable and hating on people. They will tear someone down for blinking "I hate the gays" in Morse code on a VHS from 2006. And have a whole crowd doxing this person levels of hate. But I think that the hate in your heart is ultimately between you and yourself. And artists who are sensitive in general fall into this kind of stuff so easily. It's really easy to fall into being a justified hater because you got a whole crowd of random ass people doing it. So you feel that it's okay to do it because this person is a bad person so it's justified. And creators making stuff like this might encourage their audience to be a hater too. But you can't just hate watch people and make content around hating people and expect not to get a crowd of haters, because now you just put yourself in a bad environment that you know makes you feel bad to be in. And when you make that content, you carry that energy with you in every step of your creation. You're basically baking hate into it, and people can feel that when they watch your stuff. Like, I get comments all the time talking about how I have good energy. That's because I intentionally watch it. I make sure that what I'm putting out is infused with love and appreciation, even when I'm talking shit. And that's how you continue to be a hater tastefully. In my case, as soon as I got away from that bad environment, before I was talking down to myself all the time, but now I speak fondly of myself. I wouldn't be able to uplift people now if I talked bad about myself. The only difference now is that I choose to make myself smile more. So instead of going down the rabbit hole of hate watching on Dokuro-chan, I acknowledged how I felt, still had the opinion that I didn't like her, and I put something on that was going to put me in a good mood instead. There are much better ways to get the drama that you're looking for in other forms that are healthier for you. It's one of the reasons I stopped watching the news and got more into reading and watching shows, because too many real world events can catch up with you and make you start to fucking hate humanity and not see the point in anything anymore, and then boom, you become a hating ass hater. It's much safer for me to see those things in writing and movies. Choose how you're gonna introduce yourself to these hot topics, and then I can start forming my own opinion on it and sorting these feelings out I have for it. Seeing someone betray someone else in a show is much easier to process than witnessing someone do it in real life. But with that being said, I still turn on my tablet with my bonnet on, sipping tea to Hopeless Peaches drama from time to time. Everything comes in balance. We all human, and humans are flawed creatures. But I go in now knowing what my limits are, how to handle them, and when to stop. I know if I watch Dokuro-chan, I will feel bad. I know if I watch Has-Been Hotel, I will get angry. I know these things about myself now. Every time you expose yourself to these bad things, you have a chance to fall into those bad feelings again. You risk becoming that bitter hater, and it's easy to get swept away in. But the more you can catch yourself and recognize what makes you feel bad, the more you can avoid it. Because the goal at the end of the day for all of us is to learn more about ourselves and others so that you can take form into the best version of yourself. I used to hate on people like Dokuro-chan, but while there are some things I don't like, the only way I learned that is by recognizing that I was a hater in the first place. If you catch yourself doing it on autopilot, take the wheel. Because at the end of the day, you are not what you think, you are what you choose to do. Will I watch her content? Probably not. I don't like it, but that doesn't close me off from her. If she continues to learn about herself and grow, just like I'm learning how to do, and I hope all of you are learning how to do, maybe I will. But the real question is, am I still her #1 hating ass hater? And no, I'm not. I have successfully made the transition from hating ass hater to hating ass appreciator. You can't hate someone for no reason and at the same time not see what's to love about it. Even Has-Been Hotel, and I hate that show with a passion. I can still acknowledge the good, like the So I hope y'all learned a little something about y'allselves today. I'm a very private person, so it took a lot for me to open up about something like this. So y'all gonna have to like and subscribe after this one. I'm over here opening my heart, so I'm gonna need some compensation. Also, I gotta thank the Patreons. We just opened up a chat room on there, and I felt like opening up a bit more and get a little more personal than what I'm used to. So big, super special thank you to my Patreons: Bear Man, Chicken Tendies, Corgi Bucks, Jamie McMahon, Josh is Nervous, Cara Lori, Ladybug Gamer, Pebbles Wendy, Rachel Bloom, Sade M, Sergeant Butterbean, Sergeant Butterbean, Shalu, The Cursed Vessel, Tom Space 03, and V. I love y'all so much. That's it for this video. If y'all want me to touch on other topics like this, I'm not afraid to dive in for real. So just let me know in the comments. I love y'all little hating asses, and I'll see y'all next time.